Hey folks, remember Ukraine? Well, they're getting $425 million in new free weapons from the United States. It's hard to remember that a country called Ukraine even existed when the media has been all, and of course this channel, has been all about Israel for the past month. And months before that, Ukraine was feeling neglected, forgotten, ignored. Every picture you see of Zelensky, he looks irate, he looks threatened, he looks scared. Scared that the West led him down the primrose path. And now he's left all alone at the altar. Excuse me, I had to pause there. I almost said something explicit, which I do not do on this channel. But it just, the analogy was just flowing naturally for me, and I really had to stop myself. Nevertheless, Zelensky feels humiliated. He got himself embroiled in this very long war. Hundreds of thousands of his fellow countrymen have been killed unnecessarily. The war could have ended in March of 2021, was it? Or was it 2022? I don't even remember this. No, it was 2022. March of 2022, they had a peace deal. Zelensky was ready to settle. And the U.S. and Britain came in. They put the kibosh on that. They said, we forbid you. You're going to keep fighting. And that is what Ukraine has done. And Ukraine's only gotten weaker and weaker and weaker. There is no hope for victory. Now, does that mean that Russia is going to completely conquer Ukraine? No. But that was not their goal to begin with. So I guess we should feel happy about that for them. You know, I don't wish ill upon any people. But the fact of the matter always has been, since it came to this, since Russia made the move to intervene militarily in the situation in Ukraine, the regime in Kiev was never going to be able to resist them through brute force. The policy of the Zelensky government has been that Russia has no say, that the only settlement they will accept is unconditional surrender on the part of the Russians, which is not going to happen. It's laughable. The Russians are going to walk away from this with something. They can afford to incur the losses that they've taken. But it is Ukraine that obviously cannot sustain the bloodshed forever. Especially now that the West has completely turned their backs on Ukraine. Although I guess I do need to talk about this new spending package. The public in the West lost all interest in Ukraine a very, very long time ago. Then again, they lost interest in the Afghanistan war decades ago, and it only came to an end this past summer? No, it was 2021, wasn't it? Because the Ukraine war conveniently started up right after that, so they had a new excuse, a new quagmire to just pump in billions and billions of dollars in arms into. So, getting back to this $425 million spending bill, apparently $300 million of it is going to be just brand new weapons purchased by the Pentagon and then sent to Ukraine. $125 million of it is out of Pentagon stockpiles. Now, the way they play this game, they're actually getting more than $125 million worth of munitions, because the Pentagon, when they surplus stuff out like this, they don't market at replacement cost. They mark it down as if there's some kind of free market for military arms, which is absurd. And so $125 million in existing stockpiles might be marked down something like 40%. Hell, they could mark it down whatever they want. It could be marked down 95%. And so the actual replacement cost of that $125 million in arms is probably something like $1 billion. Because the Pentagon is going to go, oh, well, see, this stuff is used, so, we can't just put it into the bill that, oh, this is $125 million worth, because it's not brand new. We would be ripping off the Ukrainians if we did that. Oh, no, no, no. We have to rip off the U.S. taxpayer instead. In other Ukraine military-related news, Zelensky has dismissed Zelensky. Remember Zelensky? He was the big guns who was brought in to lead the war effort militarily a long, long time ago. He was supposed to be a real game changer for the war, turn things around. He was the mad dog Mattis. He was going to get serious. And, hasn't really gone anywhere. So I don't know what it means for internal Ukrainian politics for Zelensky to have been fired. And I'm not going to pretend that, Kiev is going to just collapse in on itself in a matter of weeks rather than months. This war will likely drag on for many more years. And I don't think that the government in Kiev is going to, be overtaken and, they're going to raise the Russian flag in Kiev. That's not what I would expect, because just the way the Russians are acting, I don't think that's their goal. That's not how they're acting. The Russians have not gone for a decapitation strike. They would be trying to just kill all of the leaders of the Kiev government if that were the case, but instead they're trying to, capture certain towns and villages or whatever, hold on to them, and they've been playing that game. So it seems to me like the Russians want to play in the sandbox that they laid claim to at the beginning of this war, which was, the Donbass area, the far east of Ukraine, where there are people loyal to the Russian government who were being oppressed by the government in Kiev. And so they probably will just keep working at that and wearing down the Ukrainians, trying to hold on to that part of the country until they eventually relent and they sign some treaty saying, okay, we give up claim to X number of oblasts in the east. First among them, of course, Crimea. So, if you were looking for a good reason to castigate your local congressman, if you happen to see him at the shopping mall or something this weekend, here's a good reason. Yell at him about voting for more money for Ukraine. Unless, of course, he voted against it, in which case I guess you could say something nice to him, but you probably could find something also terrible that he has voted for recently to castigate him for if you really tried. But nevertheless, the Republican House, even with this... what am I saying? This particular $425 million is out of something that was already passed by the House. This was not a new bill yet. They did have that, $300 billion bill or something. That $14 billion of it went to Israel and the rest went to Ukraine or something. That was passed recently, but of course that dwarfs anything that I'm talking about today. All I'm talking about is just the next shipment over to Ukraine. More fuel for the meat grinder. So, with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.